We're following a developing story tonight. The Monroe County native accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students accepting a plea deal. That's according to ABC News. His trial was expected to begin in Boise in about 6 weeks. Newswatch 16's Stacy Lange has been following the story since the very beginning. She's here with the latest on what we can make of all this breaking news tonight, Stacy.
Yeah, Scott, the news of this plea deal comes from a letter sent to the victims' families. It has been a long 3 years for the families of Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. According to ABC News, these are the terms of that plea deal. Kohberger must plead guilty to all counts. He will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences for the murder charges. He will also be sentenced to the maximum penalty of 10 years on that 1 count of burglary he was facing. He must also waive his right to appeal. Here's a breakdown of the case as it unfolded. Bryan Kohberger is expected to admit to the murders that shocked the nation on November 13th of 2022. That morning, University of Idaho students discovered that gruesome scene in an off-campus home on King Road in Moscow, Idaho. 4 students from the university had been found stabbed to death. The victims, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, 21-year-old Kaylee Gonzalez, 20-year-old Xana Kernodle, and 21-year-old Madison Maddie Mogen, all lived together with 2 other roommates. Chapin was a first year, Kernodle a junior, and Gonzalez and Mogen were seniors. Investigators say 2 victims were found on the 2nd floor of the home and 2 on the 3rd floor. Immediately after the murders, Moscow police said there was no threat to the community. That statement changed days later, bringing the case into the national spotlight as the mystery unfolded. Questions surrounding the surviving roommate swirled.
They woke up later in the morning. They recognized that something was amiss as far as they believed that the roommate wouldn't wake up.
But police soon cleared them. Hundreds of thousands of tips started pouring into the Moscow Police Department in Idaho, and investigators started combing through hours and hours of surveillance video. Videos from the night before the murders showed Kaylee and Madison ordering at a food truck before heading home in a rideshare. Time passed, students returned to campus, and no arrests were made. Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's father, expressed frustration with the Moscow police for a lack of communication.
You can't imagine sending your girl to college and then they come back and earn.
December started with investigators returning some items belonging to the murdered students back to their families. Then, a slight break in the case. Detectives announced they needed help locating a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was spotted near the murder scene. Investigators believed the driver or any possible passengers had critical information regarding the case. Then body camera footage from September was released, showing police responding to the home for the 2nd time that night. Xana answered the door.
We can hear you from clear down the road when we were coming up here. We can hear the music.
Okay.
And that's
I'm so sorry.
6 weeks passed. A TikTok video gained traction blaming a professor for the students' murders. Police say she was not involved in the crime, and a defamation lawsuit was filed. More tips flowed in. Then, on the morning of December 30th, an arrest was made. 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger was arrested in the Poconos. According to ABC News, officials in Idaho knew who they were looking for and tracked him down. A few months later, in May of 2023, a grand jury indicted Bryan Kohberger on 4 counts of murder in the 1st degree and 1 count of burglary. The move allowed prosecutors to skip a planned week-long preliminary hearing that was set for late June. Kohberger chose silence during his arraignment in Latah County Court a few days later. Though unusual, standing silent is not unheard of. Prosecutors were given 60 days to decide whether they plan to seek the death penalty against him. And in early 2024, Bryan Kohberger's defense asked for a change of venue. His lawyers argued that an impartial jury pool could not be found in Latah County, Idaho. That's because of the amount of attention on the case and the small size of the community. Later that fall, Judge John Judge ruled in favor of the defense, granting Kohberger's request to change venue. The Idaho State Supreme Court later ruled the proceedings may be moved to Boise. That's about 300 miles south of Moscow. Earlier this year, his defense team requested for his trial to be delayed. A judge just last week denying that request, instead saying the trial would begin a week later than originally planned. Now it appears that trial will not happen at all.
Now, this plea deal means Bryan Kohberger avoids the death penalty. You would think that it would also spare the victims' families from enduring a lengthy trial. But this is what the family of one of the victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, wrote on Facebook a short time ago. The family writes, "We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support." Now, Kohberger is expected in court on Wednesday, where he is set to change his plea to a plea of guilty. We will have more reaction to this twist in the Idaho college murders case coming up on later editions of Newswatch 16. Stacy Lange, Newswatch 16.
Thank you very much for that, Stacy. You can find complete coverage of the University of Idaho murders on our website, WNEP.com, including Stacy's exclusive web series, Case of Interest, Kohberger.